So hi, good afternoon, and welcome back for those of you who've watched before, and for those of you who are new, welcome to Jonathan Androll's vlog. What we do on here is spend a bit of time talking about some things that of interest from both the modern workplace, technical strategy and management of sales teams perspective. What I'm going to focus on today is some of the more modern workplace aspects and spend some time looking at the tools that IT provide people with and an approach to those that might be slightly different. Some stats from Qualtrics say that 200 people are 230% more engaged and 85% more likely to stay if the IT provided to them is the right tools for the job and if the organisations that they work for has invested. And a different study from Zapier said that 1 in 6 employees left their jobs because their employer didn't give them the right technology and tools to do their work. Those two things on their own should ring bells in HR because we know how much it costs to recruit, how much it costs to keep people within an organisation, and also how much it motivates. I'm very aware that I'm talking about an IT side of things, while at the same time it's probably your boss as much as anything else, which is the thing that keeps you here. And having been one of those, I kind of understand that completely. But that's a big topic. I'm going to park that one for another day and focus on another thing, which, as we've said from the stats, is really important. So I'm going to look at a few bits and pieces. One is the approach to service and downtime and how organisations approach that. The second is how people get into the apps and authenticate to the applications they use. The third is providing the right tools for the job and profiling employees in the right way. 4 is not forcing people to work from a specific location, giving them the freedom and the ability to move around. The fifth is how those devices are deployed to people and how they operate with them. So those are the areas that we're going to cover. And looking at the approach to service and downtime, what we tend to see with the cultural nature of IT is that organisations measure how many tickets are solved rather than how many are created. And there's a very distinct difference between the two here. If you measure based on how many tickets are created, what you're looking to see is how much uptime people are at and how they're back out at work. Whereas if you measure by how many tickets are solved, what you're saying is you're expecting tickets to be created. My challenge to anyone we deal with from an IT strategy perspective is you should be aiming for 0 downtime with your employees. They can only be productive if they're doing the maximum amount with the tools that they have. Then authentication to apps. Now, we know, stemming out from the above, that one of the biggest reasons people call into IT is because they need a password resetting. And a lot of organisations still live in a very old world of the passwords are always dealt with by a support desk or perhaps a web portal if they've walked into a modern age. Many technologies are available now to allow both zero trust authentication and automatic sign-in based on biometrics and other tools on devices. Really, those are the ones that should be implemented. And when you do that, you will get a much better kind of IT support because they can focus on the things rather than dealing with the password resets in the background. So top one is the approach to service and downtime. Second one is how people authenticate to the applications and reducing the amount of password issues that people have while they're accessing services. Third one is making sure people have the right tools for the job. So profiling your employees in some way. It could be that someone in marketing needs a Macintosh in order to allow them to do the creative things they need. It could be that a ruggedized device is required. It could be that someone requires both a laptop and a smartphone in order to be able to do things while they're traveling and things like that. Profiling, ensuring people have the right tools for the job is absolutely critical. We're also starting to see a trend where organisations give the people the ability to subscribe to a device, but then give them the ability to upgrade that if they want to. And that very much reflects people wanting to invest in the organisation and do the right things. So making sure you give people the right tools for the job, but also perhaps offering them the ability to upgrade those at some point in time. Next, we move on to making sure people are able to work from anywhere. Nearly all employees that we see in the world now work from both a laptop and a smartphone and a tablet, or one of three. It was estimated that the average employee within an organisation had up to 6 devices at their disposal. It's quite an interesting one. Being a tech geek, I can kind of live with that, and perhaps I have had 6 devices at any point in time. But the real key here is making sure that those devices are configured to allow people to access them from anywhere. Now, by that, I'm not saying people should be forced to work from all times and where they need to. People should have the downtime that they need and the flexibility to adopt around it. But those tools should allow them to work from anywhere. You should only really be attending an office when you've got a reason to be there, rather than being drawn in all day, every day. Number 5 is using the modern deployment mechanisms that are available to you. If you accept that technology has become mobile, which I thoroughly believe it has, and the real leading thing on that was smartphones. They started the deployment mechanism. Those who can remember as far back as BlackBerry would know that that was the first non-domain joined device that was able to access organisational data. That's then stemmed, and over the years we're now on iPhones, Samsung phones, Android phones, and tablets. Those devices are the ones that are non-domain joined by choice. We still see a lot of laptops deployed in what I'll call a legacy manner, where gold builds are done. Doing those gold builds is often a huge resource on time, and they tend to break and cause problems more easily. Moving to a modern workplace deployment where all devices are resource authenticated rather than domain joined is absolutely the right thing to do, and is the way that a technology should be deployed for people. So those things are all kind of the pieces that I think make up the world that we live in here. What I would say in the background is the top end of this, and this is one of my favourite kind of ways of talking about people. You have to stop focusing on people and calling them users. You have to start treating them as employees and tenants of the organisation. A user is a term that is really only used in one of 2 places. It's used by either IT or in the drugs business. And I'm relatively sure we don't want to be making those comparisons between the two. So focus on the employees, give them the right technology with the right services deployed in the right way, and they will give you back all the things you need for the organisation and maintain the uptide. These are relatively simple items, but I think they actually make a huge difference to the way IT is approached and driving those and reducing the IT burden on organisations. So happy to take questions, comments, and anything in the feedback below. And also, if you like what you're seeing here, please subscribe and join us again when we talk about the next topic. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.